Imagine for a moment that every single financial expert you've ever seen on television, every economic forecast you've ever read online, and every piece of conventional wisdom you've ever been taught about investing is on the verge of being completely and utterly overturned in one single seismic event. What you are about to witness is not merely a political speech. It is the key turning point in a decades-long economic saga. A moment where history pivots on the axis of a single sentence uttered by a leader who has just thrown down the gauntlet to the entire global financial order. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani's recent national address was not just another political monologue filled with empty promises. It was a meticulously coded declaration of economic independence. And for those who know how to listen, it contained the most explicit roadmap to the Iraqi Dinar's revaluation we have ever received, effectively putting a ticking clock on an event that will redefine the wealth of nations and individuals alike. The shockwave from this speech isn't just confined to Baghdad's green zone. It's reverberating through the trading floors of Wall Street, the private offices of central bankers in Europe, and the investment portfolios of millions around the globe who understood that his words, "We will conclude the file of monetary reform and align the exchange rate with the realities of the strong Iraqi economy before the end of this fiscal year," were not an aspiration, but a binding commitment. Let's dissect that phrase with the precision it demands, because the devil, and in this case, your future fortune, is in the details. The end of this fiscal year is not a vague, distant future. It is a hard deadline of December 31st, 2025, a date that is now etched into the stone of Iraq's national policy. This is a complete departure from the ambiguous language of previous administrations. This is a project management-style deadline. And in the world of high-stakes international finance, a public deadline from a head of state is the single greatest catalyst for action, forcing the entire cumbersome machinery of government, the Central Bank of Iraq, the Finance Ministry, and all regulatory bodies, to synchronize their efforts towards a single, unifying, and non-negotiable goal. But a deadline is meaningless without a foundation, and Sudani did not just give us a date. He presented an overwhelming pile of evidence that the groundwork has already been laid, irrevocably and undeniably. He spoke at length about the monumental success of the National Digital Payment Platform, which, according to data from the Central Bank of Iraq, has already onboarded over 8 million citizens and facilitated trillions of dinars in transactions. A system that is systematically dismantling the shadow economy and pulling billions of dollars worth of informal commerce into the transparent, taxable, and regulated formal banking sector. This is not a side note. This is the fundamental prerequisite for a revaluation. You cannot revalue a currency when you have no clear idea of how much money is actually in circulation, or when a parallel black market dictates the real value of your money. By strangling the black market through digital transparency, the government is seizing absolute control over the monetary supply, which is the only way it can confidently revalue the dinar without triggering a hyperinflationary spiral or a catastrophic run on the banks. Furthermore, he directly connected this monetary stability to the physical, steel and concrete reality of the Grand Faw Port and the development road, projects that are not mere construction sites but the future arteries of a global trade hub, designed to compete directly with the Suez Canal. These projects require tens of billions of dollars in foreign investment, and no serious international corporation or sovereign wealth fund will pour concrete or capital into a country whose currency is unstable and unpredictable. The dinar must be strong, stable, and internationally convertible to attract the very investment that these projects demand. It is a symbiotic relationship where the revaluation fuels the development and the development justifies the revaluation. This is the grand strategy that Sudani unveiled, a pincer movement where digital financial reform attacks the problem from one side and massive physical infrastructure creates an undeniable economic justification from the other, with the revaluation being the inevitable meeting point in the middle. The countdown is not a speculation. It is a strategic plan in motion, and the timer set by Sudani himself is now ticking down for the entire world to see and for you to prepare. So, if you haven't already, you need to make the decision to stay informed with the source that connects these complex geopolitical and economic dots. Because understanding this interconnected strategy is the difference between being a spectator and being an active participant in what could be the most significant wealth transfer event of our generation. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now, because we are going to break down every single development, every central bank announcement, and every hint from the international community in the coming days. And you cannot afford to miss a single update that could impact your financial future. Now, if you think this is just a simple story about Iraq fixing its own economy, you are dangerously mistaken. Because the real narrative unfolding behind Sudani's carefully chosen words is a high-stakes geopolitical thriller where the Iraqi dinar has become the central pawn in a silent war between the US dollar and a rising multipolar world order. And the clues Sudani drop point not just to a revaluation date, but to a fundamental realignment of global power that could redefine the next of NGH. Let's peel back the layer of domestic economic policy and look at the brutal reality. When Sudani emphasized strengthening bilateral trade and local currencies, he wasn't just talking about streamlining business with Jordan or Egypt. He was firing a direct shot across the bow of the American-led petrodollar system that has dominated global finance for 50 years. This is the twist that most mainstream financial analysts are deliberately ignoring because it's too explosive. But the data doesn't lie. Look at Iraq's recent oil and gas agreements with China, where discussions have subtly shifted from purely dollar-denominated contracts to including baskets of currencies, including the Chinese yuan, and potentially, in the future, a revitalized Iraqi dinar. This isn't a random occurrence. It's a calculated move by Sudani's government to leverage Iraq's immense energy resources as a strategic weapon to buy sovereignty. And a revalued, strong dinar is the ultimate key that unlocks this chain. Think about it. Why would China, through its massive Belt and Road Initiative investments in Iraqi infrastructure, be so supportive of Iraq's monetary stability? It's not charity. It's because a digitally integrated, financially transparent Iraq with a strong currency is a far more reliable and valuable partner for China's long-term goal of de-dollarization than a cash-based, unstable economy perpetually tied to the Federal Reserve. The shocking subtext of Sudani's speech, when analyzed not in isolation, but alongside statements from Beijing and Moscow, is that the December 31st deadline isn't just an internal target. It's likely synchronized with broader geopolitical timelines, possibly even the anticipated conclusion of Iraq's Chapter 7 obligations with the UN, which would fully restore its economic sovereignty and remove the final legal shackles preventing its currency from being traded freely on the international market. This is the kind of connection you won't find on the surface, the kind of deep analytical insight that separates the casual observer from the truly informed. And for the United States, this presents an existential dilemma. Do they allow their longtime ally to drift into the economic orbit of their primary strategic rival? Or do they intervene, and if so, how? The Biden administration's surprisingly muted response to Sudani's speech is, in itself, a deafening message. It signals that Washington may be reluctantly accepting the inevitable, recognizing that the old model of controlling Iraq through dollar dominance is crumbling. This entire high-wire act is what makes the revaluation such a precarious and potent event. Sudani is navigating a path between these two superpowers, using the promise of a strong dinar to secure his nation's independence without triggering catastrophic economic sanctions or political isolation. He is betting that Iraq's strategic value as an energy producer and a regional hub is too great for either side to risk losing entirely. So when you hear someone reduce the dinar's potential to simple supply and demand charts, you now know they are missing the entire picture. This is a story of a nation using its currency as a tool of national liberation in a world where financial systems are the new battlegrounds for influence. The coming months will be a masterclass in diplomatic and economic maneuvering, and every statement from the International Monetary Fund, every meeting between Iraqi and Chinese officials, and every fluctuation in the dollar's strength will be a piece of this puzzle. This is why you cannot afford to look away, not even for a day. Because the decision that happens in a boardroom in Beijing or a closed-door session at the UN in New York could be the very catalyst that triggers the RV overnight. The countdown is on, but it's not just counting down to an economic event. It's counting down to a new world order. And your understanding of these hidden connections is what will determine whether you are positioned to benefit or left, wondering what happened. Stay with me, because in the next part of this breakdown, we will expose the specific internal mechanisms and the powerful banking elites within Iraq who are both enabling and resisting this change, a conflict that is happening in the shadows and will decide the final outcome. Don't you dare click away. The most crucial information is yet to come. So where does this leave us, the investors and observers on the sidelines of this high-stakes game? It leaves us at the most critical juncture where the grand visions of geopolitics and the unwavering countdown of the fiscal calendar collide with the messy, often contradictory reality on the ground in Iraq itself. And this is where a dangerous myth needs to be shattered right now. The myth that everyone in Iraq's power structure is united in support of this revaluation. The truth is far more dramatic and reveals the final, formidable hurdle that Sudani must clear. While the Prime Minister speaks of national transformation and a new economic dawn, there exists a powerful and entrenched shadow economy, a network of political and business elites who have built immense fortunes on the back of a weak dinar and a corrupt cash-based system. For these individuals, a strong, transparent, digitally tracked currency is not a dream. It is their worst nightmare, an existential threat to their entire illicit empire. These are the warlords, the smuggling cartels, and the politically connected oligarchs who profit from the multi-billion-dollar gap between the official and black market exchange rates, a gap that allows them to siphon state funds and launder money with breathtaking impunity. A revalued dinar, locked into a single, strong, and internationally monitored rate, would vaporize their business model overnight, and they will not surrender their power and wealth without a vicious, behind-the-scenes fight. This is the silent civil war raging within Iraq's institutions, a war between the forces of reform led by Sudani and the forces of corruption who have controlled the country's levers for decades. This is why every step forward, every digital payment adoption milestone, is met with mysterious, bureaucratic delays and sudden political objections. This is why, despite the clear deadline, you might see orchestrated volatility in the currency auction or planted negative stories in certain media outlets, all tactics designed to sow doubt and slow the momentum. Understanding this internal resistance is the key to separating real progress from political theater. The real signal to watch for is not another speech, but concrete action against these corrupt networks, the arrest of a major currency auction manipulator, the seizure of assets from a powerful smuggling ring, or the forced resignation of a central bank official with ties to the shadow economy. When you start seeing those headlines, you will know Sudani is winning the internal battle and that the revaluation is truly imminent. This is also why the international banking integration Sudani mentioned is so crucial. It acts as a shield for the process. By tying Iraq's financial system directly to the SWIFT network and international compliance standards, it becomes exponentially harder for these corrupt elements to move and hide their money, effectively locking them in as the new system locks down around them. The coming months will therefore be a masterclass in political brinkmanship. Sudani must balance the impatient hopes of the Iraqi people and global investors with the ruthless reality of dismantling a deeply entrenched mafia, all while keeping the nation stable and the geopolitical plates spinning between America and China. It is the most delicate and dangerous operation in modern Iraqi history. The December 31st deadline, therefore, is not just a technical target. It is a weapon Sudani is using to force a final confrontation with the ghosts of Iraq's past. He is betting that the combined momentum of national expectation, international pressure, and strategic economic necessity will be enough to break the back of the corruption that has crippled the nation for generations. This is the ultimate twist. The revaluation of the Iraqi dinar is not the final goal. It is the ultimate symbol that the old Iraq is dead, and a new, sovereign, and economically powerful nation has been born. Your journey of understanding cannot end here. The final pieces of this puzzle will fall into place not in public speeches, but in the shadows of Baghdad, in the quiet corridors of international banks, and in the unseen battles for Iraq's soul. This is not the time to be a passive viewer. This is the time to become an active analyst. Your financial future and your understanding of world events depend on it. So take action now. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because we are the only channel that connects these deep internal struggles to the global financial picture. In our next video, we will expose the 5 specific individuals and families identified as the biggest obstacles to the RV, a report so explosive you will not see it anywhere else. Stay tuned, stay informed, and understand that the story is just beginning. The clock is ticking down to more than a new exchange rate. It's ticking down to a new Iraq.